Hi everyone, it's Eric from ecotman12.blogspot.com and welcome to my full review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. Now a big thank you must go over to Vodafone.co.uk for sending me this handset over to review. If you want to purchase this handset from Vodafone, the actual handset will cost you £29 and then you'll be on a contract that will cost you £47 a month. Now let's get to the review. Now I'd like to first start off with the design of the Galaxy Note 2. Now this has got a 5.5 inch screen on the front, Super AMOLED HD, running at a resolution of 1280 by 720, so that is a really big screen on the front of the device. However, compared to its predecessor, the regular Galaxy Note, the screen on the Galaxy Note 1 was actually wider, so it seemed like it was bigger. However, they've done something a little bit different with this Galaxy Note 2. Despite the screen being half an inch bigger, it still doesn't seem as big when you hold it and when you just look at it in the flesh. So that it doesn't really seem as big as the original Galaxy Note. So I really do like what Samsung did right there. It's similar to what they did with the Galaxy S3. It didn't seem as big as the Galaxy Nexus despite having a bigger screen. Now, before I actually get on to the rest of the actual design, what I'd like to do is actually just do some size comparisons now. This has got a 5.5 inch screen, and this over here is my Nexus 7. Now let's just put the Galaxy Note 2 on top of the Nexus 7. And as you can see, apart from those little bit of a rounded corner near the corner of the Nexus 7, this is actually really big compared to the Nexus 7. It's like, yes, the Nexus 7 is quite a bit bigger, and it's not only is it taller, it's also a bit wider. But still, comparing a mobile phone to a 7-inch tablet, this really is quite a big phone. Now, what I'd also like to do is bring over my daily driver mobile phone, which is a HTC Desire S, and let's put this on top of the Galaxy Note 2. And as you can see, the HTC Desire S, this is normally the sweet spot, the size for phones back in the day, but now this is quite small, and you can pretty much see why. But even next to this, the Galaxy Note 2 is quite a lot bigger, and if I place the Desire S on top of the Galaxy Note 2, you can see, if I put the screen on so you can see that right there on camera, you can see just putting the Desire S on top of the screen of the Galaxy Note 2, the Galaxy Note 2 screen is bigger than the Desire S itself. So that's, just gives you also an idea of how big the screen on the Galaxy Note 2 is. And what we're also going to do is put my screen on my Nexus 7 on. And you might be a little surprised by this if I actually unlock the screen. Now let's put the Galaxy Note 2 on top of it. Now you can see over here there's a little capacitive button section right here. So the screen on the Nexus 7 sort of ends right about over there at the bottom of the Galaxy Note 2. And as you can see, the size of the Galaxy Note 2 is around about the exact same size of the Nexus 7. The only difference being is that little that notification line bar at the top. That is the only sort of size difference between the Note 2 and the 7-inch screen on the Nexus 7. So the actual height of the Nexus 7 screen is actually the height of the Galaxy Note 2. So again, giving you an idea, this is a really quite a big screen. So the screen on the Nexus, well not Nexus, the screen on the Nexus 7 was really big, but the screen on the Galaxy Note 2 is really considerably big. This is some size comparisons here to give you guys an idea. Now back on the design, you've got actually the actual thickness of the phone, despite it being very big, is 9.4mm thick. That isn't very thick. It isn't very thick. It'll be thicker if you had it on a smaller phone, but for a big phone like this, you do need a little bit of thickness. Otherwise, you won't have much to have a grip on onto the phone. So the size of the phone does take some getting used to. And in my unboxing, when I actually unboxed this phone, it really did seem really big. But right now, I'm really quite used to it. Now let's actually go onto the screen. Let's start by turning it on. Now let's unlock the screen. The screen, as I said, is a 1280 by 720 resolution, Super AMOLED HD affair, and it's also got an RGB display as opposed to the Pentile display that you got on the original Galaxy Note. And the screen has got really nice vibrant colours. The colours of this are obviously, like I said, on AMOLED, they oversaturate the colours, so the colours really got a really good punch to them. The downside to this is that the colours look a little unnatural, so whites don't look proper white. so they look more like they have a sort of blue tint to them and stuff like that. So it's not a deal breaker, but some people will not really appreciate the unnatural colours on the Galaxy Note 2. Next thing, let's actually talk about the speakers that complement the screen. When I'm watching back a YouTube video, the speakers go really, really loud. However, on the loudest volume, it does distort quite a bit, so I crank the volume down a couple of notches, and then the sound is really clear. But that is a very, very loud speaker, so I really applaud Samsung for putting such a great quality speaker in there. Now, the next thing I'd like to cover is the S Pen, which is located at the back of the Galaxy Note 2. Now, as you can see, I've configured it, so whenever I'm in an application or anything, this little S Note app will appear on the screen. Then you can write down whatever note you want, then you can either save it or close it, and if you put the little cursor that's over here, if you put it on top of these icons, it'll allow you to read and see what these all do. So I really do like that. Then you can either save or close your little note right over here, or you can go to the full-size app of S Note, but I'm just going to close this for the purpose of this review. And if you go and say something like your email, you can see over here that here's obviously the email application. Let me just give you a better look at this. Now, if I use the S Pen and actually hover this, you can see the cursor on the screen. Now, if I actually put it down over here, you can see that it's actually brought up an enlarged version of the email, which I can then, just drag this little cursor anywhere on the subject line of this email right there. So you do that, it'll bring up let you see the majority of the email, not all of it, but it'll let you see quite a bit of it. And if I go hover on top of this over here, it'll show you who sent the message. So really, really do like that. And these are nice little touches from the S Pen. And let's go back to the home screen. Another thing which I found out about the S Pen, which is really quite good, is that you could just press this button, and this will allow you to take a sort of photocopy or basically crop an image from a certain part of the web browser or something. I didn't do that right. Let's just do that again. There you go. So you could do that, then you can do whatever settings you want to do right down over here. I'm going to cross that off. But what's actually quite good is that if you just press the button right here and just double tap on the screen, it'll bring up your S Note very quickly, which you customize for it. Okay, so if I just tap and hold on the screen whilst press this button in on the S Pen, it will take a picture image of the screen, and then you can do whatever kind of edits you want to do with the S Pen. And you can do whatever you want, then you can save it, you can do some more edits over here, change the colours, and as you can see, that is really quite cool. Then you can save it or just cancel it. I'm just going to cancel it. But I really like the fact you could do that. And what you can also do with the S Pen in a browser, say you want to copy a certain portion of text and you don't want to copy a whole lot of it or anything, and you don't want to do a sort of rough cut with the S Pen, what you can do is just tap the button on the S Pen right here, and then just mark a line or whatever you want to copy, and allow you to do it. And then if you want to make adjustments to what you've just highlighted, you can do so by dragging these two little bars. And then if you want to drag more, you can do so as well. Then you can, if I hover this over here, select all the text, copy that text, or if you tap in here, you'll get some more options. You can share, find, web search, and share, which you can do to, say, some social networking sites such as Twitter and Facebook. So, nice little touches with the S Pen right there. Next thing I'd like to cover is the camera. Now, let's just go into the camera, right there. And let's put the S Pen back in as well. Now, you can take photos with the camera, and the camera actually has really, really great quality photos, and excuse the studio light reflections right over here, but shadows right over here, but the camera takes great photos and takes up to 1080p HD video. It's a shame I couldn't actually capture any HD video for you, but we've been having a lot of snow over here, and it was quite a bit dangerous to actually go out, so therefore I could not do any of that. So let's just show you some of the photos I've taken. Okay, so I did take a few photos when I was actually having the Galaxy Note 2 in, and here's just a few of them. And this is actually a photo that a friend just took, and he wasn't being very still with the camera either, and as you can see, you can read all the text that's on this camera over here, and you can really see a lot of great detail here. Let's go to the next photo. And this is just a ice cream cone thing right over here, but you can see if I zoom all the way in, there's no pixelation. You can see all the detail and everything. Absolutely great. I really do love the camera on this, and you can also share it on Twitter, social networks, etc. What we could also do is change the player. as well, so you can basically change the way you view the photos. And if you don't really like the standard gallery app that you get on Samsung's devices, I swear, really professional looking photos from the Galaxy Note 2. This is the best camera I've ever used for taking photos, and that's saying something because I've tested a lot of mobile phones that have great cameras, and this one really stands out from the crowd. And this is one I did indoors with the flash. As you can see all the details here from really zooming in. So the camera on this produces absolutely fantastic photos. Really no problems. This I use the flash, as you see there's a bit of flashback on the door over there, but it's really lighted up the subject very well that I've actually focused on. And what I love about the Galaxy Note 2 as well is that when you tap on a certain section of the photo you want to focus in, it will do that. So the camera I've really been impressed by. As I said, I couldn't really show you in HD video, but I have recorded some indoors with family, and I'll tell you that the HD video is not as impressive as the photos, but still very good. Now let's cover the next thing, battery life. Now, battery life on all smartphones is a problem, and with the Galaxy Note 2, there have been people that have actually been reporting problems with the battery. Me, however, I have not really experienced any problems. I've been a medium to heavy user, and on the days when I'm being a heavy user, I get a day of use. And if I do push just over a day, like just over, but that's on heavy use. If I'm using this for medium to heavy use, I'll get a day and a half, no problem. If I'm being a really heavy user, and I'm using this for all kinds of entertainment and games and stuff, then I will get about 5 hours of use on that front. But battery life, it's not really been a problem with me. When I was using this phone, many people say it's got battery issues, but with me, your usage may vary, but with me, I haven't really noticed any problems. I really did like the Galaxy Note 2's battery life. That being said, I think all mobile phones haven't got great battery life. They should get more than a day to a day and a half. We should be on the verge of 2 or possibly even 3 days. We've seen that they can do great screens, and the stereo speakers obviously is the next thing as well. But give us better battery life. Whoever does it first, that will be like, hats off to them. Motorola's already done it first with their Motorola Razr Max. But I think it should come as standard that we get better battery life on mobile phones now. So, in closing, can I recommend the Galaxy Note 2? Well, yes and no. I can recommend it for people that want to take notes on their device. Well, I know it's kind of that's kind of obvious, but if anyone just wants a big screen device, I think this might be asking for too much. The call quality, incoming and outgoing, is fantastic, no problems. However, I can get used to holding this phone in my hand, despite how big it is. But I can't really get over the fact that this is quite big when I'm putting it over my ear. It just is a little bit too big to use as a mobile phone. However, that's not a deal breaker. You will most likely get used to it. I've only had this for about 2 weeks. You will most likely get used to it, and it's not really a problem. I haven't had anyone look at me like think what a big phone that is, and it is a jocker. People will say it is really big. It's huge. You're gonna have to actually hold it in your hand and sort of judge it by yourself what you think of the size. But it really is a huge mobile phone, and I know I've said that so many times, but really it is a huge mobile phone. That's the only way to really describe it. And for those of you, like I'd say, journalists or people that really need to take notes and stuff, and they always bring these little styluses with a little bit of sponge at the end, where you can sort of write notes on an iPhone, or say Galaxy S3 and stuff, it's not really the same. I'd say that Samsung have actually really quite nailed it with the S Pen. With the S Pen, it's got a lot of flexible features, and this is one of the most productive phones I've ever used. So many people will actually find a lot of uses for this. I can see how they'll find uses for this. But personally, it's not really for me. That's really down to the screen side. But as with all phones, we're going to get used to it. With pretty much, if you look back at all the other phones, the HTC Desire HD, the first iPhone when it came out, we all thought they were big screens, but we got used to it. However, I don't want them to eventually, we just had some 6-inch phones being announced recently, I don't want them to eventually lead up to a 7-inch phone. That's just really pushing it. I don't want to carry something like this around as a phone. But they are slowly creeping up to every inch. Now, Samsung actually have good reason to actually come out with a 5.5-inch screen on a mobile phone. I don't see how other companies can, justify that screen size. Samsung have got the S Pen, and many people actually find uses for it, but just to have a big screen phone for the sake of having a big screen phone with no extra advantages is pushing it. But I think Samsung really have nailed it with the Galaxy Note 2. It's got its purposes and uses, and it definitely will appeal to many people that are actually looking to make notes on their phones much easier and stuff, and this will certainly not disappoint them. It is a really, really great phone. It's got the best camera I've ever seen on a mobile phone, and this camera certainly tops the iPhone 5's camera by a huge margin. And with my time with the Galaxy Note 2, I've really enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you guys very much for watching this bit longer video review of the Galaxy Note 2, but a phone like this really did need the extra coverage. I hope you've enjoyed all my coverage of the Galaxy Note 2 in my previous videos, and also this full review. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Eric from ecartman12.blogspot.com. Please thumbs up, comment and subscribe, and I'll see all of you in the next video.